Something is happening in Jerusalem. The ground is trembling. The stones are shifting. The winds are stirring. Once more across the city of the great king, and the eyes of the world remain distracted, but something ancient is beginning to rise again. The mystery is returning. The gate that has remained sealed for centuries is moving. The eastern gate, the golden gate, in Hebrew, Sha'ar HaChamim, the gate of mercy. It faces the Mount of Olives across the Kidron Valley, waiting in silence, standing as the only gate on the eastern wall of the Temple Mount that is sealed shut. It is the gate that leads directly to where the Holy of Holies once stood. It is the gate that the prophet Ezekiel saw in a vision, the gate through which the glory of the Lord departed, and the same gate through which the glory will return. And now something is shifting. The very foundation stones, massive, immovable, ancient, are reported to be cracking, shifting, leaning. The earth beneath them is stirring. Is it erosion? Is it coincidence? Or is it the hand of the Almighty loosening what man has sealed? For centuries, empires have tried to control this gate. The Ottoman Sultan sealed it shut in the 1500s to prevent the entrance of the prophesied Messiah. A cemetery was planted before it, thinking that no Jewish priest would defile himself by walking through the dead. But you cannot bury the purposes of God. You cannot block what heaven has decreed. What man has sealed, God can unseal. The prophet Ezekiel declared in chapter 43 that the glory of the Lord would enter the temple through the east gate. And Messiah himself, when he comes again, will set his feet upon the Mount of Olives, split it in two, and come through that very gate. That gate is the gate of his return. And now it is moving. This is not just a change in architecture. This is a trembling in the spiritual realm. The signs are converging. The nations are raging. The land is shaking. The pieces of prophecy are aligning like stars in the heavens. We are in the days where that which was sealed is about to be opened. The words written long ago are becoming present reality. The things hidden are being revealed. The veil is being lifted. But with the movement of the gate comes the call to awaken. For the Lord is not only coming to Jerusalem, he is coming for a bride. He is coming for a people. The warning is not just for the nations, it is for the church. The watchmen must rise, the lamps must be filled with oil, the voices in the wilderness must cry again, prepare the way of the Lord. This is the hour to remove compromise from our hearts, to cast off the garments of apathy, to return to the altar of prayer, to stand in the gap as intercessors, priests, and watchmen. For when the eastern gate opens, it will not only be a shift in stone, it will be the arrival of the King. The Spirit is saying, come out of Babylon. Come out of complacency. Come out of the world systems. Cleanse your hands. Purify your hearts. For the King is standing at the door, and soon the gate will open. And when it does, will you be found ready? Will you be among those watching at the walls of Jerusalem? Will you be crying out for his return? Or will you be sleeping while the hour approaches? The eastern gate is moving. The prophecy is stirring. The timeline is accelerating. The warnings are echoing. And the Lord is calling. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. Today. If you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. The time of delay is over. The bridegroom is approaching. And the gate of mercy, the gate of glory, the gate of his return is beginning to tremble. The eastern gate of Jerusalem, also known as the Golden Gate, holds a profound and mysterious role in biblical prophecy and spiritual history. It is unlike any other gate in the city. It faces eastward, directly aligned with the Mount of Olives. And it is the only gate on the eastern wall of the Temple Mount that is sealed shut. This gate is not just a relic of ancient architecture, it is a witness to divine movements. a marker of prophetic fulfillment and a symbol of things yet to come. For centuries, this gate has remained closed, its stones locked in silence, yet carrying a message that resounds through the corridors of time. It is not merely a structure of stone and mortar. It is a threshold between the physical and the divine, between what was and what will be. The sealing of the Eastern Gate has a specific and intentional history. In the 16th century, during the rule of the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered the gate to be sealed. It is believed that this was done in response to Jewish tradition, which holds that the Messiah will enter Jerusalem through this very gate. In an effort to prevent the fulfillment of that prophecy, not only was the gate sealed, but a Muslim cemetery was established directly in front of it under the assumption that no Jewish priestly figure would dare pass through it due to ritual impurity. Yet what man seeks to seal, God can unseal. The prophetic purposes of the Lord are not deterred by walls, politics, or tradition. What is written shall come to pass, no matter the schemes or intentions of men or empires. Recent reports and eyewitness accounts have begun to circulate of unusual activity at the Eastern Gate. Massive foundation stones, stones that have stood firm for centuries, are shifting. Cracks have appeared. Movement has been detected. While some may point to natural causes such as erosion or time, those with spiritual discernment recognize the significance. This is not merely geological change, it is prophetic trembling. It speaks of something greater than the material. The very ground seems to be responding to a heavenly timeline. The ancient prophecies may be stirring once again. Just as the veil of the temple tore at the moment of Messiah's death, signaling the change of covenant, so too might the stirring of the Eastern Gate be a signal of a new chapter in prophetic history beginning to unfold. The Bible tells us in Ezekiel 44 that the Eastern Gate is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, entered through it. Later in Ezekiel 43, the prophet sees the glory of the Lord returning from the east and entering through the gate, filling the temple with his presence. This gate, then, is both a memorial and a future highway for the glory of God. It represents what was and what is to come. It is connected to the return of the Messiah and the eventual restoration of all things. The fact that it is now physically moving stirs the question in the hearts of those who watch for the signs of the times. The prophet Ezekiel was given a vision that transcended time and space, a vision that revealed the glory of the Lord returning to Jerusalem through the East Gate. In chapter 43 of the book of Ezekiel, he writes that he saw the glory of the God of Israel coming from the east. His voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone with his glory. This vision was not symbolic or vague. It was detailed, vivid, and tied directly to a specific location, the Eastern Gate of the Temple Mount. This gate, now sealed and guarded by centuries of stone and history, stands in direct connection with this prophetic promise. It is not a general metaphor, but a literal geographical marker through which the divine presence has already moved and is destined to move again. When Ezekiel saw the glory of the Lord departing from the temple in earlier chapters, it went out through the East Gate. This gate became the point of exit for the divine presence. But in chapter 43, that very gate becomes the entry point for the return of his glory. This prophetic pattern shows that the Eastern Gate is more than just a historic entrance. It is a spiritual portal marked by divine encounters and messianic destiny. It is the same gate through which the Messiah is believed to have entered on Palm Sunday, riding on a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy of Zechariah. It is also the gate through which he will return, this time not as a humble servant, but as the conquering king. Messianic prophecy ties the movement of the Eastern Gate directly to the arrival of the Anointed One. The Jewish people have long awaited the appearance of their Messiah, and the Eastern Gate has remained a symbol of that anticipation. It stands as a witness to the promises of God, a barrier that will be breached not by human hands, but by the power of heaven. The sealing of the gate by the Ottomans centuries ago was seen by some as a futile attempt to halt the fulfillment of this prophecy, a human effort to resist the will of the divine. Yet prophecy cannot be sealed by mortar or guarded by tombs. The vision remains alive, and the gate remains marked by destiny. The significance of Ezekiel's vision grows more urgent in light of recent developments. If the gate is beginning to stir, if the foundation is shifting, then the vision is drawing closer to fulfillment. The return of the glory of the Lord through the Eastern Gate will not be a hidden event. It will be glorious, unmistakable, and world-changing. The Mount of Olives will split, the heavens will open, and the King of Kings will enter. The connection between the gate and the return of divine glory is not peripheral, it is central. It is a key part of God's prophetic timeline, and it reminds the world that no matter how dark the hour, the light is coming from the east. When the Ottoman Empire sealed the Eastern Gate in the 16th century, it was not merely an act of architectural modification, but a spiritual statement. The gate that faces the Mount of Olives was intentionally closed off and bricked with heavy stone, as if human hands could prevent divine prophecy from being fulfilled. A Muslim cemetery was established just outside the gate based on the belief that no Jewish priest or Messiah would enter through defiled ground. This was not only a political decision, but a theological act of defiance. Yet the very attempt to block prophecy became part of the prophecy itself. The gate remains sealed to this day, but its silence is not a sign of victory over God's plan. It is a declaration of what is yet to come. So Scripture makes it clear that what man seeks to block, God can open. No gate, no wall, no decree of kings or sultans can stop what the Lord has determined. The prophet Isaiah says that God will go before his people and break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. The Eastern Gate stands as a challenge to that word, but it also stands as evidence that God allows resistance as part of his unfolding plan. The sealing of the gate, instead of halting prophecy, has preserved it. It has stood untouched for centuries, waiting for the appointed time. The presence of the cemetery was meant to create a ritual barrier, yet it too becomes a powerful symbol. The Messiah will not be stopped by death. He has already conquered the grave, and no man-made tradition can prevent his entrance. Every attempt to deny his return, every effort to obstruct his path, only adds to the testimony of his unstoppable purpose. The gate that was sealed out of fear becomes the gate that will burst open in triumph. The world often mocks the things of God, tries to resist them, or explains them away. But prophecy is not folklore. It is the declaration of what will be. And when prophecy aligns with physical events, when the very stones of the Eastern Gate begin to tremble and shift, something greater is at work. The purposes of God move forward despite resistance, often using the very resistance itself as a sign. The sealed gate, once thought to be the end of a promise, is becoming the stage for its fulfillment. The shifting of the Eastern Gate is not merely a matter of stone or structure, but a prophetic stirring that reflects something happening in the spiritual realm. Physical signs in the land of Israel often mirror movements in the heavenly timeline. And when the gate that has remained sealed for centuries begins to show signs of movement, It demands spiritual discernment. The Bible speaks of signs in the earth and sky that will precede great moments of fulfillment, and the trembling of ancient stones may be one such sign. The earth itself groans in anticipation of the revealing of the sons of God. And Jerusalem is the center stage of this prophetic drama. The convergence of prophetic markers in our time is undeniable. From the regathering of Israel to the increasing tensions surrounding the Temple Mount, the pieces are aligning. The movement of the Eastern Gate may signal that the time is drawing near for the return of glory to the city of God. This movement could be a preparation for the rebuilding of the temple, a place that the prophets declared would once again stand upon the mount. The Eastern Gate would be the entrance to that holy place, the very gate through which the king would pass. While the world remains focused on political alliances and technological advancements, the true shift is happening in the unseen realm. God is orchestrating events that most eyes cannot yet perceive. The prophetic word is not bound by time, and when signs like these begin to manifest, they are calls to awaken. The movement of the Eastern Gate is not just an architectural curiosity, but a heavenly trumpet sounding. It calls for watchmen to rise, for the faithful to discern the hour, and for the nations to consider the signs pointing to the return of the King. The movement of the Eastern Gate is more than a sign of physical change. It is a divine call for spiritual awakening. It speaks not just to Jerusalem, but to every heart that claims to follow the Lord. The shifting stones remind us that prophecy is not distant or abstract, but alive, active, and unfolding in real time. As the gate begins to stir, so must the people of God. This is the hour to lay aside complacency and return to the altar of repentance, prayer, and holiness. The call is not just for scholars or theologians, but for every believer to be ready, watching, and walking in righteousness. If the signs are not given for curiosity, but for preparation. The same glory that once departed through the Eastern Gate will return, and with it comes judgment, justice, and redemption. This moment in history demands that the church awaken from slumber, remove compromise, and rekindle the fire of devotion. The movement of the gate is not just about the coming of the King. It is about the readiness of the bride. Every sign calls out with urgency, not to alarm, but to prepare, not to fear, but to awaken those who have ears to hear and eyes to see.